Ambassador Kim Hana sat in her small room aboard the diplomatic ship. Her hand shook a little as she read the mission files one more time. Earth had sent her to meet with the Hegemony Council. This was humanity's last chance to avoid war. The Council was made up of 12 different alien races. They all hated humans. They said Earth's people were spreading too fast across the galaxy. They said humans were dangerous and needed to be stopped. 3 weeks ago, the Council had sent Earth a message. It was simple and scary. Submit to our rule, or we will destroy your entire species. Earth's leaders had argued for days about what to do. Some wanted to fight right away. Others wanted to try talking one more time. Hana had volunteered for this mission. She was Earth's best diplomat. She had made peace between warring human colonies before. Maybe she could do it again with aliens. The ship shook as it came out of faster-than-light travel. Through her small window, Hana could see the Council's massive space station. It was bigger than any human city. Thousands of alien ships surrounded it like angry wasps around their nest. "Ambassador, we're being contacted," called Captain Lee from the bridge. His voice sounded nervous through the intercom. "Tell them we're here for the scheduled meeting," Hana replied. She stood up and smoothed her formal diplomatic uniform. Her team of 6 other humans waited in the corridor outside her room. "They're sending us docking instructions," the captain said. "But Ambassador, they're telling us to bring only you. No guards, no staff." Hana's heart sank. This was already going wrong. Diplomatic meetings always included full teams. Leaving her people behind meant the aliens didn't plan to negotiate fairly. "I have to go anyway," she told her team. "If I don't come back in 6 hours, return to Earth immediately." Dr. Park Min-soo, her chief advisor, grabbed her arm. "Hana, this feels like a trap. They could kill you and claim it was an accident." "They could," she agreed. "But if I don't try, millions of humans will die for sure when they attack our worlds." The docking process took 30 minutes. Alien security. Guards met Hana at the airlock. They were tall, gray creatures with 4 arms and no visible eyes. They spoke through translation devices that made their voices sound like grinding metal. "Human diplomat will follow. No sudden movements, no recording devices." They led her through corridors that seemed designed to make visitors feel small and afraid. The walls were covered in symbols from all 12 council races. Each symbol looked sharp and threatening. The message was clear. These species had conquered many others before. The council chamber was enormous. Representatives from each alien race sat on high platforms arranged in a circle. At the center was a single small chair. For her, Chancellor Vextar of the Dominion spoke first. He was the most powerful member of the council. His species looked like giant insects with silver shells. When he talked, clicking sounds came from his mouth. "Human diplomat," he said through his translator. "Your species has spread to 47 star systems in only 200 years. You build colonies faster than any race we have seen. You reproduce too quickly. You consume too many resources. This cannot continue." Hana stood up straight and tried to sound confident. "Honorable council members, humanity seeks only to find new homes for our people. We don't want to harm anyone. We can share space with your civilizations. There are millions of empty worlds in the galaxy." Several council members made angry noises. A creature that looked like a floating jellyfish with tentacles spoke next. "Sharing is not possible. Your kind fights wars with each other constantly. You will eventually fight us too. Better to stop you now while you are still weak." "We've learned from our mistakes," Hana said. "Humans have been at peace with each other for 50 years. We can live in peace with you too." Chancellor Vextar stood up. His massive form cast a shadow over Hana's chair. "Peace is not an option. You will accept our terms or face destruction. Your colonies will be abandoned. Your people will return to Earth. Earth will pay tribute to the Council every year. Earth's military will be disbanded. These are our final terms." Hana felt her hope disappearing. "And if we refuse? Then every human world will burn. Every human ship will be destroyed. Your species will end." "I need time to contact my government," Hana said. "No. You will sign the agreement now or watch. Your team die as an example. Before Hana could respond, the chamber doors opened. Her 6 team members were dragged in by alien guards. Dr. Park looked terrified. The others tried to stay brave, but fear showed in their eyes. Sign, Vextar commanded, or they die right here. I won't sign away humanity's freedom, Hana said, her voice stronger than she felt. Vextar made a gesture with one of his claws. The guards raised their weapons. Then watch what happens to those who defy the council. The energy weapons fired. 6 bright flashes filled the chamber. When the light faded, Hana's team was gone. Only burned marks on the floor remained. Hana fell to her knees screaming. These had been her friends. Good people who only wanted peace. You have 1 day to return to Earth with our terms, Vextar said coldly. If your leaders refuse, the same fate awaits every human in the galaxy. But, as Hana's ship limped away from the station, she found something waiting for her that the Council never expected. Admiral Park Jinwoo greeted her at Earth's main spaceport with a grim smile. We've been preparing for this conversation for 3 years, Ambassador, he said quietly. Your sacrifice and theirs won't be wasted. Phase 1 begins now. Earth went completely silent. Not a single message went out to any alien world. All trade ships stopped coming and going. Human colonies across the galaxy began what looked like panic evacuations. Ships left carrying frightened families and their belongings. Within days, 17 human settlements appeared to be emptying out. The Hegemony Council celebrated. Finally, the stubborn humans understood their place. Chancellor Vextar sent messages to all Council worlds announcing their victory. The human plague has been contained, he announced. They flee like scared animals. Soon they will crawl back, to beg for mercy. But far from Earth, in a hidden asteroid field that didn't appear on any star charts, something very different was happening. Admiral Park Jinwoo stood on the bridge of a ship that shouldn't exist. The silent storm was 3 times larger than any human vessel the aliens had ever seen. Around it floated 200 more ships just like it. Admiral, all Shadow Fleet units report ready, said Captain Yoon Sunwoo from the tactical station. She was young but had trained for this moment her entire adult life. Begin Phase 1, Admiral Park ordered. Remember, we hurt no living beings. We only break their toys. Lieutenant Commander Lee Minho piloted his stealth corvette toward the Hegemony's main communication relay. The station connected 12 different star systems. It was protected by shields that could stop human weapons. At least weapons the aliens knew about. Phoenix Wing approaching target. Minho reported quietly into his headset. Beginning quantum. Disruption sequence. He pressed a series of buttons his grandfather could never have imagined. The ship's new quantum drive created a small bubble of altered space around the relay station. Inside this bubble, the laws of physics worked differently. The station's shields simply stopped existing. The relay exploded in a bright flash. No, one was hurt, but suddenly 4 entire star systems could no longer talk to each other. This same scene happened 30 times across Hegemony space. Communication stations went dark. Supply depots melted into scrap metal. Trade routes that had existed for centuries became useless overnight. On the Hegemony capital world, emergency meetings began immediately. Fleet Commander Thek studied the reports with growing confusion. Sir, we've lost contact with the Outer Rim colonies, his aide reported. The Centauri supply route is completely destroyed. The ammunition depots in the Vega system are gone. How many ships did the humans use? Thex asked. That's the strange part, sir. Our sensors detected nothing. No human ships, no weapon signatures, no energy readings. The facilities just stopped working. Chancellor Vextar slammed his claw on the meeting table. Impossible. Human technology is primitive. We've studied their capabilities for decades. They barely have faster-than-light travel. Maybe it's not an attack, suggested another council member. Could be system failures. All this equipment is old. But the failures kept happening. Every day brought new reports. The Hegemony's vast network of control was falling apart, piece by piece. Worlds that had been connected for centuries were now isolated. Military bases found their supply lines cut. Even worse, They couldn't figure out who was doing it. In the abandoned human colony of New Sol, something interesting was happening. The city looked empty from space. All the lights were off. The spaceport appeared damaged. Long-range scans showed no life signs. But deep underground, Colonel Choi Daewon watched alien ships approach through hidden cameras. His defense team waited patiently in bunkers that were invisible to alien sensors. "Sir, Hegemony 4th Fleet is entering orbit," reported Sergeant Kim from the monitoring station. 12 ships, including a heavy cruiser. "Let them come," Daewon said calmly. "Have they detected our real installations?" "No, sir. Their scans are showing exactly what we want them to see: empty buildings and broken equipment." This was the genius of humanity's plan. While the aliens had been making threats, human scientists had been making breakthroughs. They had learned to hide entire cities using technology that bent light and energy in impossible ways. They had developed weapons that could reach across space without being detected. Most importantly, they had learned to be patient. The evacuations from human colonies had been carefully staged performances. Most of the colonists had simply moved underground or to hidden stations. From space, it looked like humanity was retreating, in fear. In reality, they were taking positions for the next phase of the plan. On Earth, Ambassador Kim Hana met with the planet's military leaders in a bunker deep beneath the capital. She still had nightmares about watching her team die, but her anger had turned into cold determination. "How long before they realize what's happening?" she asked Admiral Park. "Maybe another week," he replied, studying holographic displays that showed hegemony territory. "Their communication network is completely broken. They can't coordinate their fleets anymore. Most of their military commanders don't even know there's a problem yet. And our colonies? Safe. Hidden. Ready for Phase 2. The Admiral smiled for the first time since this all began. "They think we're weak and running away. Soon they'll learn what humans do when we stop being nice." Dr. Song, Earth's chief scientist, stepped forward. "Admiral, our quantum drives are performing better than expected. We can move the entire Shadow Fleet without detection. The aliens still don't know we exist." As reports continued coming in from across the galaxy, it became clear that humanity's silence was not surrender. It was preparation. The hegemony had made one critical mistake. They had assumed that threatening humans would make them submit. Instead, it had made them dangerous. Commander Thex of the hegemony's 4th Fleet stared at his tactical display, with growing frustration. For 2 weeks, his communication equipment had been failing. Supply ships weren't arriving on schedule. Most annoying of all, he couldn't contact the Council to ask for new orders. "Sir, we're approaching the human colony of New Sol," reported his navigator. "Long-range scans show the settlement is completely abandoned." Thex felt a moment of satisfaction. Finally, some good news. "Excellent. The humans ran away like cowards. Take us into orbit and prepare boarding teams. I want to know what they left behind." The 12 ships of his fleet moved toward the planet. Everything looked exactly as expected. The cities were dark. The spaceport appeared damaged. Nothing moved on the surface. "Sir, I'm detecting some strange energy reading," said Lieutenant Kex from the sensor station. "Very faint, but they're coming from underground." "Probably just old power systems shutting down," Thex replied. "Continue the approach." Deep beneath New Sol's main city, Colonel Choi Daewon watched the alien ships through hidden cameras. His control room was filled with the best human soldiers and scientists Earth had trained. They had been waiting here for weeks, invisible to alien sensors. "Sir, the hegemony fleet is in position," reported Sergeant Kim from her monitoring station. 12 ships exactly as intelligence predicted. "Perfect," Daewon said quietly. "Are our quantum disruptors ready?" "All systems green, sir. We can disable their entire fleet in 30 seconds. Daewon pressed a single button. "Begin Phase 2. Above them." Commander Thex was getting ready to send his boarding teams to the planet's surface. Then everything went wrong at once. Warning lights started flashing all over his bridge. His weapon systems powered down. The ship's engines stopped working. His communication arrays switched to frequencies he didn't recognize. "What's happening?" Thex shouted at his crew. Sir, all our systems are being controlled by an outside source, his engineer reported in panic. It's like someone else is flying our ship. The main screen activated without anyone touching it. A human face appeared. It was a man in a military uniform that Thex had never seen before. This is Colonel Choi Daewon of the New Seoul Defense Corps, the human said calmly. Your vessels are now under our control. Do not attempt to resist or you will be destroyed. Thex couldn't believe what he was hearing. Impossible. Your technology is primitive. We've studied human capabilities for decades. The human smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. You studied what we wanted you to see. Welcome to the real human military. Suddenly, the empty city below them exploded with light. Buildings that had looked broken were actually working perfectly. Weapon platforms that had been invisible appeared all around the fleet. The entire planet revealed itself to be a massive trap. How? Thex whispered. While you were making threats, we were making preparations, Daewon explained. Every human colony you thought was abandoned is actually a military base. Every retreat you celebrated was actually us taking better positions. Thex tried to activate his ship's self-destruct system, but nothing responded. His own computer told him that human technicians were now controlling every function of his vessel. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields, he said desperately. Our hulls are made from materials that resist all known human weapons. Known being the key word, Daewon replied. Let me show you what we've been working on. One of the weapon platforms fired a single beam at Thex's flagship. The beam passed through the ship's shields like they weren't there. It didn't explode anything or hurt anyone. Instead, it simply turned off every single system on the ship. The lights went out. The air recycling stopped. Emergency power failed. Quantum dissolution beam, Daewon explained. It convinces your ship's atoms that they don't want to work together anymore. Very effective against alien technology, completely harmless to living beings. This same scene was playing out across the galaxy. 11 other hegemony fleets had been sent to investigate abandoned human colonies. All of them found the same thing. The colonies weren't abandoned. They were fortified. And human technology was far more advanced than anyone had imagined. On the hegemony capital world, Chancellor Vextar received the reports with growing horror. 12 entire fleets had been captured without firing a shot. Not one human had been killed. Not one alien had been hurt. But every ship was now controlled by mysterious human forces. How did they advance so quickly? He demanded, at an emergency council meeting. 6 months ago, they were begging us for peace. The truth was simple but terrifying. While the council had been making ultimatums, human scientists had been making breakthroughs. Earth's best minds had spent 3 years developing technology that could defeat any known alien defense. They had learned to hide entire cities. They had created weapons that could disable any ship without harming the crew. Most importantly, they had learned to wait for the perfect moment to strike. Admiral Park received the reports aboard his flagship in the hidden asteroid base. All 12 enemy fleets were captured. Every human colony was revealed to be a military stronghold. Phase 2 was complete. Sir, reported Captain Yoon, we're receiving surrender requests from 6 of the captured fleets. Tell them we don't accept surrenders yet, Park replied. We're not finished with Phase 3. He looked at the holographic display showing the hegemony capital worlds. Soon, those planets would discover what happened when you threatened humanity's children. The aliens had demanded submission or destruction. Humanity had chosen a third option. Victory. Admiral Park Jinwoo stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought, indomitable. Around him, the Shadow Fleet hung in space like sleeping giants. 200 ships that the galaxy had never seen before. Ships that used technology the aliens couldn't even imagine. All fleet commanders report ready, Admiral, said Captain Yoon Sunwoo from her station. Her voice was calm, but Park could see the excitement in her eyes. They had trained for this moment for 3 years. Begin the final demonstration, Park ordered. All ships to their assigned targets. Remember, we're not here to destroy. We're here to show them who really holds the power now. Across the galaxy, something impossible began to happen. Above each of the 12 hegemony homeworlds, space itself seemed to tear open. Massive human ships appeared from nowhere, dropping out of quantum stealth directly over the most protected planets in alien space. On the Dominion capital world, Chancellor Vextar was in the middle of an emergency meeting when his aide burst into the room. "Sir, massive energy signatures appearing in our atmosphere. Unknown ships are materializing above the capital city." Vextar rushed to the window of his tower. What he saw made his blood freeze. Enormous human vessels hung motionless in the sky like dark angels of death, ships larger than anything in the hegemony fleet. And they had appeared without triggering a single warning system. "Impossible," he whispered. "Our planetary shields are impenetrable. Our defense grid would detect anything approaching from light years away." His military commander, General Kex, ran into the room carrying a datapad. His face was pale with fear. "Sir, the defense grid is offline. The planetary shields are gone. Every weapon system on the planet has been disabled. They're not responding to our commands." "How many ships?" Vextar demanded. 16 above our world alone, sir, but we're receiving similar reports from all Council homeworlds. Every capital planet has human ships in their atmosphere." This was the genius of humanity's final strike. While the aliens had been celebrating their captured fleets and demanding Earth's surrender, human scientists had been studying every piece of hegemony technology they could find. They had learned how alien shields worked, how their weapons operated, how their defense systems communicated with each other. Then they had built counters for everything. On Earth, Ambassador Kim Hana sat in the Global Command Center, watching displays that showed all 12 enemy worlds at once. The woman who had watched her friends die was now about to deliver humanity's final message. "Are all communication systems ready?" she asked the technician beside her. "Yes, Ambassador. Every radio, television, and data network on all 12 worlds is under our control. When you speak, every alien in the hegemony will hear you." Hana took a deep breath. Her hands were steady now. The fear and grief she had carried for weeks had transformed into something cold and powerful. "Begin transmission," she said. Across the galaxy, on 12 different worlds, every communication device activated at once. Televisions turned on by themselves. Radio broadcasts were overridden. Even personal communication devices began playing the same message. It was Hana's voice, speaking in perfect translations of all 12 alien languages. "People of the Hegemony Council," she began. "3 weeks ago, your leaders gave humanity a choice. Submit to slavery or face total destruction. You murdered my diplomatic team to make your point clear. You thought we were weak. You thought we would surrender." On the Dominion homeworld, Vextar watched in horror as his own communication screens displayed the human woman's face, the same diplomat he had threatened, the same woman whose friends he had ordered killed. "Today, you learn what happens when you threaten Earth's children," Hana continued. "Your fleets are captured, your defenses are offline. Your leaders are now prisoners in their own palaces. We could destroy every one of your worlds right now, but we're not like you." Above each capital city, the human ships began to move. They didn't fire weapons or drop bombs. Instead, they demonstrated their complete control over alien technology. Traffic lights started flashing in patterns that spelled out human words. Building lights turned on and off to create messages. Even the aliens' own military communications began broadcasting human songs. General Kex stared at his tactical display in disbelief. "Sir, they're controlling our entire planetary network. Every computer, every vehicle, every piece of technology is responding to their commands instead of ours." "How?" Vextar asked again, but he already knew the answer. Humanity had never been as weak as they pretended. While the Council was making threats, Earth's people had been making plans. Hana's message continued. "Yesterday, you could have had peace with us as equals. You could have shared the galaxy with humanity as friends, but you chose threats and murder instead. Today you receive terms as our prisoners." On screens across all 12 worlds, the terms appeared in simple text. The Hegemony Council would be dissolved. All human territories would be recognized as completely independent. War reparations would be paid for the murdered diplomats. Trade agreements would be renegotiated as partnerships between equals, not masters and servants. You have 6 hours to accept these terms, Hana announced. If you refuse, we will demonstrate that mercy is a choice we make, not a weakness you can exploit. Admiral Park watched the alien response from his flagship. Panic was spreading across all 12 worlds. Military commanders found their weapons wouldn't respond. Government leaders discovered they couldn't even leave their own buildings without human permission. Sir, reported Captain Yoon, we're receiving surrender requests from all 12 council governments. Tell them, Park replied with a cold smile, that surrender is no longer an option, only compliance. The age of alien dominance was over. The age of human strength had begun. 3 months had passed since the day human ships appeared over 12 alien worlds. Ambassador Kim Hana walked through the corridors of what used to be the Hegemony Council building. Now it was called the Galactic Cooperation Center. The name change wasn't just symbolic. Everything had changed. The 12 representatives who once sat on high platforms looking down at humans now sat at a simple round table. They wore gray uniforms instead of their ceremonial robes. Most importantly, they wore small devices around their necks that prevented them from leaving the building without permission. Chancellor Vextar looked much older than he had 3 months ago. His silver shell had lost its shine. His forearm shook slightly when he tried to speak. The proud leader who had ordered the death of human diplomats was now just another prisoner waiting for instructions. Ambassador Hana, he said quietly, as she entered the meeting room. We have reviewed the new trade agreements as requested. Good, Hana replied, taking her seat at the head of the table. And? The terms are acceptable, Vextar admitted. His voice carried none of its old authority. We agree to purchase human agricultural products at the stated prices. We agree to share our medical technology freely. We agree to recognize all human colonies as sovereign territory. Hana nodded and made notes on her datapad. What about the reparation payments for my murdered colleagues? Another council member, a floating jellyfish creature named Kex, spoke up. The payments will begin next month as scheduled. 1 billion credits per year for 20 years as agreed. And the War Crimes Tribunal? The room fell silent. This was still a difficult topic for the former council members. In 2 weeks they would be taken to Earth to stand trial for ordering the execution of diplomats. It would be the first time in galactic history that alien leaders faced human justice. We understand the necessity, Vextar said finally. We committed crimes against your people. We must face the consequences. Through the large windows of the meeting room, they could all see human ships moving freely through space that had once been forbidden to Earth's people. The sight still amazed many aliens. 6 months ago, humans had been considered a minor species barely worth noticing. Now they controlled the most important trade routes in the galaxy. Dr. Park Min-soo, Hana's old advisor who had survived because he stayed on the ship during that fatal meeting, entered the room carrying a stack of reports. Ambassador, I have updates. From our colonies, he said. New Seoul reports their underground facilities are fully operational. New Tokyo's defense grid is complete. The mining operations on Kepler 442b are exceeding production targets. This was perhaps the most shocking revelation for the former hegemony. The human colonies they thought had been abandoned were actually more developed than ever. While alien leaders had been celebrating humanity's retreat, human engineers had been building underground cities, hidden spaceports and defense systems that made their worlds nearly impossible to attack. Any problems with our new neighbors? Hana asked. None, Ambassador. The former hegemony species are adapting well to the cooperation agreements. Some are even requesting permission to establish joint research projects with our scientists. Vexitar looked up with something that might have been hope. Ambassador, may I ask about these research projects? Of course, Hana replied. Your people have excellent medical technology. Our people have advanced quantum physics. Together we can achieve things neither species could manage alone. That's what cooperation means. This was the most surprising aspect of humanity's victory. Instead of becoming conquerors like the old hegemony, humans had chosen to become leaders. They offered partnership to those who accepted the new rules. They shared technology and knowledge freely. They protected smaller species from bullies. Admiral Park Jinwoo appeared on the room's communication screen from his flagship. The Shadow Fleet was now Earth's official galactic peacekeeping force. "Ambassador, we've received 3 requests for protection this week," he reported. "The Centauri Republic wants our help dealing with pirates. The Vegan Trade Union is asking for escort services. The Free Worlds Alliance wants to join our defense network." "Approved," Hana said without hesitation. Humanity protects those who ask for protection. This was the new reality. Species that had once feared the hegemony now sought human protection. Trade routes that had been dangerous were now safe under Earth's watch. Pirates and raiders found themselves facing human ships that could disable their vessels without harming the crews. Colonel Choi Daewon's voice came through another communication channel from New Seoul. "Ambassador, we've finished construction of the new diplomatic academy. We're ready to begin training the next generation of galactic negotiators." "Excellent, Colonel. How many species have applied to send students?" 23 so far, including some that were never part of the old hegemony. Word is spreading that Earth teaches real diplomacy, not just threats and intimidation. Hana smiled as she looked around the room at the former council members. "Gentlemen, this is what you could have had if you'd chosen cooperation over conquest. Partnership instead of domination. Peace instead of war." Vextar nodded slowly. "We understand now, Ambassador, but it's too late for us to change the past." "No," Hana replied, "but it's not too late to build a better future. Your species can still earn their place in the new galactic community, through cooperation, through respect, through proving that you've learned from your mistakes." As the meeting ended and the former council members returned to their quarters, Hana stood alone in the room looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human colonies were growing. Human ships were keeping the peace. Human diplomats were building alliances that would last for generations. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity didn't ask for permission anymore. They simply decided what was right and made it happen. The age of human dominance had begun, and it would be an age of cooperation, not conquest.